The classic writer Edgar Allan Poe is especially well known for his thrilling poems and short fiction. Often, when people read the literature of great writers like Edgar Allan Poe, they wonder, how do they do it? Where do their ideas come from? Does art just spring magically from their fingertips? Or is there a method to this madness? Following the publication of his most famous poem, The Raven, Poe wrote an essay entitled The Philosophy of Composition in order to answer that very question. In this essay, he uses the raven to explain how accomplished writers compose good fiction. Some critics have hypothesized that the essay was meant to be a satire and does not accurately reflect Poe's process of writing The Raven. However, if one accepts Poe's words as truth, writing a great poem is all about logic. Poe first decided to write this essay while mulling over a letter that he received from Charles Dickens about how another writer, William Godwin, wrote his famous novel Caleb Williams backwards. This led Poe to consider the different ways in which a good writer writes. He chose to examine his poem The Raven because it was his best-known work. Poe said that he wrote the poem to its completion with the precision and rigid consequence of a mathematical problem. Before beginning to write The Raven, Poe considered the issue of length. According to Poe, a poem must always be capable of being read in one sitting. If it goes on too long, it risks losing unity and its effect on the reader. Next, Poe considered the desired effect that he wished his poem to have. Since he wanted the poem to have a universal appeal, he decided that beauty would be the intended effect of his poem. After he decided on the effect, Poe considered the tone of his poem. Again using logic, he concludes that sadness is the most fitting tone to accompany beauty, because true beauty makes people cry. Poe also went through a complex mental process in order to decide on his poem's refrain. Since a refrain appeals to people because it is always the same in language, Poe decided that the way to make it new was to slightly alter how the refrain was used in the poem while keeping the language the same. Since he wanted to alter its application often, Poe decided that his refrain would consist of a single word, nevermore. When first trying to decide what creature should speak the refrain, he considered a parrot, given the bird's habit of repeating the same word over and over. He decided on the raven in order to be consistent with the poem's tone of dark sadness. In order to give the poem maximum universal appeal, Poe asked himself the following question: of all melancholy topics, what, according to the universal understanding of mankind, is the most melancholy? The answer? Death. From this response, Poe combined the effect of beauty with the topic of death to conclude that the best topic for a melancholy poem is the death of a beautiful woman. Thus, according to Poe, great writers do not pull their ideas out of thin air and spontaneously begin writing, which was the theory of writing espoused by previous poets such as William Wordsworth and Samuel Coleridge. In the end, if we choose to accept Edgar Allan Poe's essay as fact, the act of creative writing is as logical and formulaic as mathematics.